Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another Monday morning art talk. Whippy! Okay, welcome to another Monday morning art talk. So today what I wanted to just talk about is just based off a letter that I received from one of the people that I did one of my Skype mentorships with, and she wrote a letter and she just mentioned something in there and it sparked, and I said, you know what, that's a good topic, and then I'll tie this in, but I'm not going to read you the whole letter she wrote me, but after the interview, after the mentorship that we did, she just wrote, I was spinning my wheels and starting to lose hope about the whole possibility. However, now I have something to work on in order to take to the next step. And she writes this way, it goes, you can Google as much as you like about a job, but if you don't have the knowledge to see where your work falls short, it's not going to get you very far. And my previous attempts at getting constructive feedback failed. But again, where she's writing, you can Google as much as you like about your job, but if you don't have the knowledge to see where your work falls short, it's not going to get you very far. So what I just kind of wanted to get into today was really about how important this is, because people aren't aware of their shortcomings a lot of times. And so what makes it difficult is as you're researching, okay, let me look at these videos on Google or YouTube or anything else, you might be looking at those. But if you don't have the knowledge base, you can't do anything. There's nothing you're not going to be able to improve. So it's by having the awareness, when you realize what your shortcomings are, you can objectively look at your work and realize, I got to fix this, but only through awareness can you do that. And then I was watching, this is so funny, again, this is how this all works. Then I'm watching Dr. Phil, well, it was like this interview, it's called Objectified, and this guy he was interviewing Dr. Phil, but he just, in passing, and he said something, and I'm like, oh, that's great what he just said. But he said, you can't change what you don't acknowledge. And again, he's referring to just people, their habits, their whatever it may be. But that's what it is about art. You cannot change what you don't acknowledge. If you're not aware, if you don't acknowledge that you have a weak skill set, if that your things aren't lining up, there's something not so good comparison to these other artists that you admire. And I hope that you all have artists that you admire. I think it's very important to have artists that you look up to, because you learn from them. And it's you can't just be like, no, I'm going to do all art by myself, and I'm not looking at anyone's work, or posh. You can't be doing any of that stuff. You got to be learning, all the time. But again, it's learning that, having that sort of awareness that's going to get you there, because that's how you can make change. All right. So if you don't realize that, you don't, maybe someone's told you that you're great at drawing comic book characters, and you're drawing comic book characters, but you don't realize or have an idea that they're kind of stiff and lifeless. And you go, because you're not thinking like that. Your mind hasn't gone there. You're just rendering the hell out of it and inking it and all that, but it's missing some life or feeling more than anything, because again, that's what we react to in art. I always do believe that. I believe we react to feeling. It's the feeling that it makes us when we look at art. There's an emotional reaction. And so if you're not aware and don't understand, well, what do you mean line of action? What do you mean just kind of feeling? What does that all mean? And you're not aware of that. Well, how can you change your drawings to match that? It's impossible. You're not going to. So when I was doing my teaching life drawing all the time, that's what I would constantly be telling the students, is just like, you're having your awareness is your greatest tool. You got to be aware. You got to be aware that you suck. You got to know that something's not right, that something's wrong. So what can I do to start improving upon this skill? And so what do? You take action. You just got to start doing things to start helping you get there. And it doesn't mean just, I've said it before in other art talks, studying things that have nothing to do with what you do. You know, again, being, wanting to be an oil painter, so to speak, when you want to just do character design of some sort. Why are you putting all your energy in these areas that don't necessarily pertain? I mean, you're always learning, and I'm just sort of saying this now because I got an email about it from someone. They were confused on what I was saying about that, but the reality is you want to learn as much as you can, but again, discover what it is you truly want to do and what you need to start improving upon. And this is why a lot of the times when people, they're not even benefiting when they're looking at YouTube or studying, doing all these things where they're not getting real feedback. The reason why, there's no accountability. So when people don't have accountability, that's when I have personally seen a huge drop-off rate with action. People aren't going to follow through and take action all the time, because unfortunately what happens is things just start to die out in our mind, our imagination, and it starts to fizzle out. We just mentally might get tired, but we don't have accountability. So it's so important to make sure that you are setting personal goals all the time, but also just making sure that you're taking action, on it, just following through, and maybe having someone to meet up with. I don't know. It could be a parent, could be a friend, could be a partner, whoever it is, it could be a mentor, whatever it is. You need someone just to possibly check in with, just so that you're on the right track. But most importantly, just learning the tools, all right? And that's why I just kind of want to mention that again. I just really love you can't change what you don't acknowledge. So even in your workplace, whatever you're doing, if you don't acknowledge the fact that you're really miserable at work and this is what the cause of all your suffering is, and you don't thinking about that, well, how can you change that? You're not going to do things to change it. So become that sort of awareness to help you get through these stages that you're going to go through. All right? That's it. Make it a great week. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys next week. Take care.